Hello, America. I'm Mark Levin. This is Life, Liberty, and Levin. Great guest again, Curt Schilling. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
We've met in passing.
Yes.
But now we get to talk to each other. And I'll tell you why I wanted you here. Because you fascinate me. Great athlete.
Thank
You
you.
know, I'm from Philadelphia. You played for the Phillies for some time. You played for the Diamondbacks. You played for Boston. You had a tremendous record. And also, you're an outspoken conservative. Now, first things first, 1993, you pitched in the World Series with the Phillies. They lost. 2001, Arizona Diamondbacks. 2004, 2007, Boston Red Sox championships. You had an 11-2 postseason record. I just want the nation to understand how phenomenal that is. That is the greatest postseason record of any pitcher who's pitched 10 or more games in the postseason. And 8.846 winning percentage. And I'm doing this for a reason. So you have the major league record when it comes to that. You also struck out over 3,000 batters, one behind Gibson. You're tied for third or one behind?
I'm one behind.
One behind on third. And you routinely, and it's not that long ago, you routinely pitch past 6 and 7 innings, which really isn't done anymore. This is a tremendous record.
Thank you.
And you're not in the Hall of Fame. You're not in the Hall of Fame. Is that because of your views? You think it's political?
Part of it is. I mean, it's not a guess. The people that have not voted for me specifically because of the things I've said or did, they've said it. They've come out and said, I can't vote for him because of what he said or what he did. And
isn't that pretty outrageous? I mean, aren't they supposed to be voting based on your career as a baseball player, as an athlete, not whether they agree with your conservative views or not?
Right. Well, the two words come up, the character clause. And there's a couple issues with that. First of all, I've seen recently, I've been put in the Clemens and Bonds category. You know, the character issues, this and that, which kills me because Roger Clemens was such a big influence on my career. But I don't doubt for a second that he cheated. They are equating me and something they think I've done or said with guys who willingly, Lance Armstrong, in a sense, destroyed other people's lives to preserve their legacy. We're on the same moral, turf somehow. But so my dad told me, don't ever live your life trying to please people you don't know. And that's, I've lived that. You can go back and look at 22 years of my career, and I've never had an incident with a teammate. I mean, not a serious incident. Every day you have some fans, clubhouse guys.
Isn't this what they do to conservatives generally? Look what they've done to the President of the United States.
Yeah.
Before he became a Republican, before he decided to run, before he was the nominee, before he was President of the United States, the liberals loved him. The media loved him. Hollywood loved him. And they couldn't say enough good things about him. They took his money. They took his donations. They made money off of his program. All that was well and good. Then he decides to run for President of the United States. Next thing you know, he's a reprobate. He's Hitler. He's Stalin. He's 1,000 things that they say. Isn't that what we all come up against? He came up against it. You came up against it. Guys like me, we come up against it every single day. Isn't it the effort to just destroy your reputation and your character, if they can, rather than engage?
I would argue it's probably the same reason you have a hard time getting a liberal to sit in this chair. Mm-hmm. Because the second I'll converse and debate anybody. I am open. One of the things I was when I played, I was coachable. I would listen to anybody about anything because it would help make me better. My thirst for knowledge after I got done playing is the same. I'll debate, I'll talk to anybody about anything because military history is my passion outside of sports. And I read my mom taught me how to speed read when I was young. So I've got a stack of books, about 15 high next to my, I read about a book a night.
Wow.
I find something I don't know. And then I'll read it, because a book is just someone else's interpretation of something that I can look up myself. But I want different perspectives and viewpoints, because especially where we are now. You look at where this country is now and
where is this country now?
As conservatives, we're up against a group of people who don't have any forethought, who don't think ahead. You can't, in any realistic scenario, in the real world, play out this socialist dream and come to a conclusion that benefits the people. It's never worked anywhere ever. There's no example where you can say, they love to point to Scandinavia and all the other things, and they don't realize, first of all, it doesn't scale. There's 6 or 10 million people in those countries combined. We're over 300 million people, and how many tens of millions of those people aren't even in the system, taking billions of dollars out? It doesn't work. And so, you look at a generation, my kids are between 16 and 22. So they're in college, and they're pretty conservative, and they're listening to liberal professors say things, and they'll text me. And the only, my son has one professor who said, I don't want you to take what I say at face value. I want you to challenge me, which is the first time I've ever heard anybody left of center say that.
So you think the country is moving in the wrong direction because of this socialist pressure that's in place in our schools, in our society, in the media, even though there's a pushback, the President of the United States and other conservatives and so forth?
Well, here's the thing. I game this out, right? I mean, you know where we are right now. You're kind of in the eye of the storm, in a sense, given your influence on people on the right and the hatred that comes from the left for you, which means you're on target doing something right. But you game this out. Trump's going to win in 2020. There's just no feasible way unless the Russians and Democrats get together again and try and rig another election. But he wins in 2020. They're not going to suddenly scale back. They'll be apoplectic, more so than they are now.
You don't think this ends well?
No, it doesn't. It can't end well, because the left has proven that they won't let it end until they get their way.
And that's an example on the wall.
The wall is a great example. You were mentioning how much the left loved Trump. Back when they were loving Trump, they were also approving $25 and $40 billion to fund a wall, because you can go back and look at the sound bites of Obama and Clinton and everybody saying, we need this, we need border security. And all of a sudden, they hate it, and they only hate it because President Trump wants it, period. But I feel good about the fact he's not going to give in. He's not going to end this shutdown until he gets his money.
Now, you're describing a political party that puts power before a country. Because why in the world would they change their position? Everybody knows a nation needs to secure its border. Everybody knows it's a bad thing for drugs and drug runners to come into the country. Everybody knows that we need to know who's coming into this country.
Those are all common sense.
All common sense. But they reject it. They don't reject it because it's
bad
irrational
policy. No.
or bad policy or bad for the country. They reject it because it's bad for their own political fortunes. And yet they have a propaganda machine at CNN and MSNBC
Powerful.
and in the New York Times, day in, day out. You were talking about your kids. They have academia in their back pocket with tenured professors who are mostly hardcore left-wing. And much like you in sports, leftists in sports can do pretty much whatever they want to do. They can take knees, they can do this, they can do that. Conservatives in sports had to be very careful because even the sports media is quite left-wing.
Well, there's no better example in the last 9 years. 2 athletes have been pretty much persona non grata. Tim Thomas carried the Bruins to the Stanley Cup in 2011, did not go to the White House.
For Obama.
He's like Voldemort, he who must not be named. He carried the Bruins to a Stanley Cup, and he was the greatest thing ever until then. I said, vote Bush in 2004, it blew up. The Patriots refused to go to the White House. They're icons. They're people to follow. It's just, and so like I said, you can't, like the Hall of Fame vote stuff, I can't live my life for those people because they're never going to like you. There's a certain part of the world that just doesn't like you for whatever reason. The reasons they don't like me have to do with, I think, character and integrity and morals and ethics and honor and all the things that my dad taught me to believe. And we were talking earlier. I said one of the most powerful lessons of my life was Roger Clemens pulling me aside and talking about, my dad passed away about 8 months before I made my major league debut. And
so he never saw any of this?
No, not from ground level anyway.
Right.
But Roger told me, when you walk out on the field, the name on the back of your jersey, that's not your name, that's your father's name. Mm-hmm. And I never forgot that. I left a ticket for my dad every game I ever played.
Really?
Left a ticket. There was an empty, because I wanted an empty seat in the stadium during the World Series, so he knew next time I get a chance to talk to him, he's going to know I never forgot about him.
You have flirted with running for office. Massachusetts would be a tough place to run.
I would, yeah, but that's why I chose Boston over New York to play.
Really?
Oh, sure.
Why?
Because if I went to New York and helped them win 28th and 29th World Series, ho-hum. If I go to Boston and help break the curse or whatever they call it, there's something no one's ever seen in there. I want the challenge. And it turned out to be partially a great thing, but I got what I asked for.
Do you think you'll run?
No, not now. After I watched, when you look at what the left has done to people that they don't like, especially politicians. When I watched the Kavanaugh hearing and realized that conservative wives, spouses, and children are now in play for the media, my family doesn't deserve that, and they're not. They spent 20 years following me around baseball. I'm not going to subject them to that.
I want to talk more about that. The Kavanaugh hearings, your philosophy, your view of sports, because sports to me seems to be following the Democrat Party, pretty much.
Yeah.
Folks, don't forget to join us almost every weeknight on Levin TV. Go to blazetv.com/Mark where you can sign up, blazetv.com/Mark, or give us a call at 844-LEVIN-TV, 844-LEVIN-TV. A lot of conservatives are there, and we would like you to join us.